the hardest and most amazing experiences of my life, being asked to be understudy for Girl Lead. A Taste of Ireland has become a second family to me in New York, performing down the street from Broadway. My name is Tyler Watkins, I'm 23 years old and I have been a dancer with the Taste of Ireland for about 2.5 years now. So I started dancing when I was 4 years old. I was definitely born into it. My mum owns the Watkins Academy of Irish Dance in Queensland, and my sister also danced with her, so I think it was pretty inevitable that I was going to have to start dancing at some point. But my mum was always very clear about the fact that if we didn't want to dance, that was completely fine, it was her thing, and if it wasn't ours, then that was okay. But I think it's safe to say that dancing was definitely my thing as well. I've been competing since about the age of 5 maybe, and I've been lucky enough to win 6 state championship titles. I have placed in the top 10 nationally multiple times, and I've represented Australia at the World Championships on 5 different occasions, I think. One of the biggest highlights of my competitive career was definitely recalling and placing at the 2016 World Championships in Glasgow. I certainly will never forget that moment. My competitive career has also given me a lot of opportunities outside of competition as well. In 2016 and 2017 I actually lived in Galway in Ireland for about 6 months over those 2 years, and I trained with the Hessian School of Dance there as well. That was probably one of the hardest and most amazing experiences of my life. It definitely pushed me in more ways than one. But being surrounded by dancers of that calibre is something that you can't help but be inspired by. And if I could go back and do it again, I would definitely do it in a heartbeat. My competitive journey has been pretty up and down over the years, I guess you could say. I've definitely had some serious lows, but also some really big highs as well. It hasn't been smooth sailing for me. I've definitely experienced probably every place under the sun, but I wouldn't change it for the world because it's taught me how to be resilient, and I think in this day and age it's really important that if things are looking a little dire, then that's the time when you need to push the hardest, and it's a skill that I've learned to adapt to my life outside of dancing as well. While competing has been a pretty big portion of my life in terms of dancing, performing has almost been even bigger. My mum has always had a passion for performance, and she's definitely taken that into our dancing school as well. So I've had the opportunity to perform at a range of different events and shows and performances and things like that. I've had the opportunity to perform with the Queensland Pops Orchestra at our Royal Exhibition show, and also at the Woodford Folk Festival as well. And in between those, there's been countless and hundreds of performances that I've been a part of that I can't even keep track of. Performing in a professional show has always been a lifelong dream for me, and yeah, ever since I was a little girl, all I wanted to do was be in a professional show. In 2017, I made the decision to audition for A Taste of Ireland at our national championships in Adelaide that year. It was definitely a big decision. I was scared and didn't know what was going to come of it, but I'm very glad that I took that step because I was offered a role as a dancer in their upcoming Christmas tour that year. So I went on my very first professional tour, and it was one of the most intense and amazing experiences of my life, but I can safely say I have never been so sore in my entire life. We were in the studio from 9 till 9 some days, and those of us especially who were new to the show were in there early or staying back late to practice because we definitely didn't want to get on that stage and make mistakes. But yeah, it was a crazy time, but it was a whirlwind experience and I had an absolute blast. Since then, I have been lucky enough to go on several tours all across Australia in places I didn't even know existed in our own country, so that's been pretty cool. I was also asked to choreograph for the Pace Live Dance Company's debut show, Michael the Show, in 2018, which was a whole other experience aside from performing on the show. So that was amazing as well, and so exciting to see your work come to life. Last year I also got to be a part of the Australia-New Zealand tour. Unfortunately, I could only do 4 out of the 6 months because I had to return to my studies halfway through the year, so that really sucked. I didn't actually get to go to New Zealand, but the time that I had on those 4 months dancing across Australia was probably one of the best experiences of my entire life. While it was definitely draining, and I've probably never been so exhausted in my entire life, I wouldn't trade it for the world. It was incredible to be able to dance across the country and in some amazing venues. I think a definite highlight for me was dancing at the Crown Casino in Melbourne, which was just a whole nother level for us. A really big highlight of that tour was definitely being asked to be understudy for girl lead on that tour. I certainly wasn't expecting that, but I can't quite describe how happy I was when I was asked to be understudy, especially for Kaylee, who is just beyond incredible, and I grew up watching her. I saw her dance in Lord of the Dance when she was touring with them, and it just seemed crazy to me that now I was getting the opportunity to be understudy for her. I remember one show I performed the lead. I went out front of house after the show to greet some audience members, and I ended up having a conversation with this one woman who actually mistook me for Kaylee. And she was asking me all about what it was like to be in Lord of the Dance, Heartbeat of Home, how did it feel to win the World Championships, but she didn't really give me a chance to jump in and correct her, or at least that's the story I'm going with. But it was pretty fun to be able to be Kaylee for a night. I don't know, I think I'd like to try it again. But a major sentimental moment for me on that tour was definitely performing lead and backline as well for my friends and family at several shows throughout the tour. I can't quite describe the feeling of what it's like to get up there in front of the people you care about and the people that have helped you get on that stage in the first place, and be like, look, here I am, this is what I'm doing now. So yeah, it was amazing. But the first time I performed lead for my parents and my boyfriend was something that I will definitely never forget. They were all coming to watch our show in Redcliffe that night anyway, but I was supposed to be doing backline until there was a last minute change and I had to step in and do lead. So I decided to keep this under wraps, and I didn't tell anyone that this change happened, and then I just came out on stage as lead, and I think it was a nice surprise for them, but for me, I've never been so nervous before stepping on that stage, but I think it definitely paid off, and it's something that I'll never forget. In 2020, I was also asked to travel to New York City with the rest of the Taste of Ireland crew and perform at the APAP conference there in January. That was a really surreal moment for me. I have dreamt of performing in a professional show my entire life, and there we were in New York City performing for some of the most respected artists and producers and agents in the entire country, and perhaps even in the world. It was definitely a pinch me kind of moment. Like, I just couldn't believe I was actually there in New York performing down the street from Broadway. While I've had many successes dancing and performing with the Taste of Ireland, I think my favourite thing to come out of this whole experience is definitely the friends that I've made. I've had the opportunity to dance alongside some of the world's best dancers, and this has pushed me and my own dancing skills beyond what I ever could have imagined. But a Taste of Ireland has become a second family to me, and that's something I would never trade for the world. I've made so many friendships doing this show all throughout Australia, America, England, Scotland, New Zealand, and we're still keeping in contact now, having Zoom calls during isolation, so that's something that I really treasure. A really special moment for me actually happened outside of the tour, but at the Nationals last year I was lucky enough to place 7th in the senior ladies section, which is a huge accomplishment for me, and most of my friends from A Taste of Ireland know cracking into that top 10 was a major accomplishment for me, and there was nothing better than coming off stage from that presentation and having all my friends from A Taste of Ireland there, like greeting me, congratulating me, and being able to celebrate that success with them is definitely like one of the best memories I have from my competitive career. We get a lot of positive feedback and compliments about our interaction and our connection with each other on stage during the show, and I think it's really important to note that that's 100% genuine. It's not faked, we really are friends, and I think that translates really well on stage. But I have so much respect for A Taste of Ireland and the way it cultivates friendships, and It's something that I will always be thankful for. Auditioning for Taste of Ireland has been one of the best decisions I've ever made, and I can assure you that you should take that leap of faith if you're thinking about pursuing a career in performing. 100% do it. I have had the absolute best time. Not to mention my performance skills and just general dancing skills have improved out of sight since being in the show. Look into pursuing that performance career you've always dreamed of, because I haven't regretted a single second. This has been my journey to the stage.